everyone, this is Kelly from The Truth in Story, and I'm here to do another hashtag. I said I had a few to do. Well, there's a hashtag going around called 22 Faves. Stephen, who is from Tiff Tarot, I never know if I'm saying that correctly, but he has a YouTube channel, but he's fantastic with his Instagram. I think it's on Instagram and YouTube, and on his Facebook he does like daily tarot like chats or like messages. So he does on video that are just like little snippets that are really well done. He also has a deck that is coming out. It's already up for pre-order on Amazon, I believe. And so I will put a link to his channel and things below. But he just wanted to do a tag, and he couldn't really see one that he hadn't done. And so he decided to do like his 22 favorite. So taking one, each of the major arcanas and like different decks and what those, favorites for those ones. And of course, some of these I have more than one for because that's how I am. I feel like the light is really bright today. I've tried to tone it down. I've toned it down as much as I can, but hopefully we are able to see. I wonder if it's because the camera. Sometimes if the camera's too close to the black, it can actually throw things off. So I do apologize. I just didn't. For hashtags, I tend to like to at least show, and it's easier to do it on my webcam than over there because I can see what I'm doing. But I may need to shift over. But I'm gonna go ahead and just do this one as is. So I have here it was really difficult for me because I was like, okay, I don't know, like what is my favorite? Like I could take one deck and these are all my favorites for these different cards. I actually had a hard time kind of narrowing it down. So I have many of them are my other ones that are my favorites. These are ones that just came to mind for whatever reason. So I'm not kind of calling them my ultimate favorites because I'm sure somebody's going to say, oh, what about this one? You love that. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that, right? So yeah, these are just what sprang to mind last night. So for the Fool card, I have the Fool from the Tarot of the Hidden Realms because I just love him. I love that he is open. I think of the Fool with the term open-chested, being open to the world, being exuberant. Look at his face. He's like, his body is back. His chest is open to the road and open to the journey. I love the moth here that speaks to the transformation, that he's going on a transformational journey. I love that the roses have thorns because there is both beauty and pain in the journey he's about to take. But he is just open to the experiences. I just love I think Tarot of the Hidden Realms does such an amazing job with body postures and even facial expressions that it makes it such a powerful deck. And I really, really love this Fool card. So that's the one that I picked for the Fool. The Magician was particularly difficult for me because I like Magician cards. I have very strong, it's about manifestation. It's about having everything you need to manifest for me. And so I ended up going with the Magician card from the Raven's Prophecy because it's like literally almost seems to be carved into, yes, it could be tattoos, but there's almost a depth that almost feels like these are, the cups and the wands and the swords and the pentacle are almost carved into the hand. But it's that idea that we hold in our hand like everything that we need to manifest what it is that we need to manifest, to pull from the air, to pull from the ether, right, and manifest it into, and physically manifest it. So I just this one to me really embodies that meaning and kind of stands out from a lot of the typical. We've got the Magician standing there and he's got his table and he's got all his things on it, which works, but I felt like this one really stands out as being the Magician. So that's that one. going to try to go at a decent pace here. For the High Priestess was hard too. There's just so many beautiful High Priestess cards. But I ended up choosing, just for example purposes, the Seer from the Wildwood Tarot, because she's so very shamanic-y. That's my new word. She's very shamanic-y. She's very... her eyes are closed, like she's literally gone inward. She's gone inward. We've got the water here, so we have that there, but we have that with her closed eyes, just that idea of the realm of the High Priestess, the realm of the Seer is internal, and she's gone to that space within herself. I really, really love this one, so that's why I chose that. So this is from the Wildwood Tarot. The Empress, I actually chose two. There's many. I like quite lush Empress cards. You know, originally the Empress card was much more about the ruling Empress. She is the ruling female authority to the male authority of the Emperor. And then it started to shift a little bit more to very Mother Earthy, fertile, creating, actually in the act of creation. Which to me is very Mother of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles more so, but I do like that. I chose two. So the one is the Empress card from, this is the first edition of the Mythic Tarot. I love the colors here. I love the field. I love the color. I love the pregnancy that you seem to be able to see here. I love her red hair. I just really think this is a beautiful card. It's I think one of the prettiest cards in the Mythic Tarot. So I just happen to like this one. It's just one of that comes to mind because it's one of the reasons I really wanted the Mythic Tarot. It's one of the reasons that I wanted the first edition. So yeah, so I picked that. But then I really love them. This was my first deck for a long time. This is the Llewellyn Tarot. See, now this one to me keeps the lushness because she's out in the forest. So we still have that connection to nature and the lushness and it still has that connection to nature and to earth, but she looks like a ruler, like she is on her throne. She has her wand, she has her shield, so we definitely get the sense that this is a ruler. This is somebody who is fully in her power. So this is, I think, a beautiful balance between both of those kind of Empress styles. So this is from the Llewellyn Tarot. The Emperor was a no-brainer for me. No-brainer. I love the Emperor from the Marielle Tarot. He looks so strong and so wise and so ready to do what needs to be done to create order out of chaos and to take control. But again, there is a sort of shamanic-y feel to him as well. I just love it. I mean, that's the first thing that came to mind. It's like, same thing with death. You know, when I thought death, it's like, bam, Marielle, right? Well, we're going to get there, too. So this is the Emperor from the Marielle Tarot. I just love this depiction of the Emperor. The Hierophant was hard because there's not a lot of Hierophants that I love. Like, they're very often popes or religious authority and things, and they don't really speak to me. But I love the Shadowscape Hierophant because he's a tree. He's like an ant. He is holding space and teaching the other little woodland creatures, and he's just a tree. And I do think of trees as teachers and guides. And so I just love this. So when I saw this one, same thing with the Death card, actually, with Shadowscape, is one of the reasons that I wanted this deck, because I love this tree creature here, tree teacher here. So yeah, this is from the Shadowscapes Tarot. But then the other one, some of these I have done multiple. The other one is the Llewellyn Tarot again. Again, it was the first I learned tarot on this, but I love that we have Talliers in here. We've got a bard. So he literally passed on his teachings and things through stories, which of course is what I'm all about. And so I just love it. I love this one. It's just gorgeous too. It's a beautiful deck. So this is from the Llewellyn Tarot as well. Not the Llewellyn Classic, but the Llewellyn Tarot. The Lovers card was hard for me because it's not one of my favorite cards in the deck. but I really love the Wild Unknown because there's not any people in it, because the Lover's card for me really isn't about love. That's more the Two of Cups. It's really about choice. And it's choice that is in alignment and in tune with your higher self, your conscious self and your unconscious self, and all of those kind of being in alignment. So I really like how they're flying in unison. The sun is coming. It just kind of really simply and clearly depicts that sense of being in a unity about a decision and making choices that are unified with your whole, all the aspects of yourself. So I really do love the Lover's card from the Wild Unknown. But just as a little bit of humor, because I was trying to think of the one, this one cracked me up. So a lot of this is from the Wisdom Seekers, yes, Wisdom Seekers Tarot. This one just cracked me up because a lot of the older Marseille style and the more traditional tarots will show like Hercules on a path, and he has to make a decision between like a young fertile woman and sometimes like an old unattractive, really laced up kind of woman. Like, am I going to make a wise choice, or am I going to choose from other parts than my brain, right? And so I quite like this because he looks like, what should I do? Here I've got this lovely naked redhead right here, and she's at least young looking, but she's all dressed properly in her high collar and everything like that. And he's like, this is a difficult choice. So this one is more just because it makes me laugh. So there we have that. The Chariot is my birth card. So this was, again, a little bit of a no-brainer for me. I love it. I think Stephen picked this one in his as well. This is from Tarot of the Old Path. And I love it because it has the 4 horses of the 4 elements that are depicted here. So that sense of mastery and confidence coming from being able to harness and work with all 4 energies in your life is just, to me, perfect. So you have the sun, and you have the earth, and you have the water, and you have the air. Or that could be the opposite. No, water, I'm sorry. Water's over here dripping, and then the air with the stars. I think that's, to me, just perfect, and I absolutely love it. So this is from Tarot of the Old Path. But I did have to do a little, I'm sorry, it's the Marielle. Like the wolves here in the Marielle with a Chariot. The only thing about this is you don't get so much of a sense of movement. But she's so awesome and shamanic-y. I'm going to use that. See, how many times does Kelly say that in one video? There's just something very visceral about her, and then the wolf pack. And it's 4 wolves, so you can still think of the 4 elements. So, yeah, had to put that one in there. Strength card is one of my favorite cards, and the first one that came, there's a ton of strength cards that I love, but the first one that came to mind is from Bohemian Gothic, because look at that. I think that is absolutely stunning. I love strength cards where the woman is kind of laying on the lions, and there's that physical touch that's more intimate. Sometimes they're opening the mouth or whatever, but I love some of the ones where the hand is in the hair or grasped around the ear. There's just like a sense of intimacy, and this is so stunning. So this is from the Bohemian Gothic Tarot by Baba Studios. There's just an utter connection here and an utter trust that I think is just beautiful. I'm sorry, another Marielle. Look at that. I just love, this is very glossy. I just love the colors. I love the meditation pose of the meditation beads and going inward with the meditation, because it's the strength card is about, and then the line, and again just the deep connection and the trust to be able to just lay those hands down down the nose of the lion, and her legs are on either side, so she's literally like sitting on the lion, but there's just such a intimate pose and a touching pose, and then those beads and that idea of going inward meditatively, I think is just stunning. So I had to use it. I think I picked the most from the Hermit card because that is the 3 cards that I associate the most with on a personal level. The Chariot because that's my birth card, but if I actually chose my cards, it would be the Hermit and the Queen of Swords. So of course the Hermit, I had to choose a few. Love the depiction of the Hermit card in the Fountain Tarot. I love the light. I love the tangle of branches and like electrical poles and wires. Yeah, so for me, the so yeah, I got cut off here somehow. But so for me, the Hermit card in the Fountain Tarot is just absolutely stunning. It's one of my favorite Hermit cards. It just so much has that seeker quality. It has so much of being willing to go into the tangle, to really to go through difficulties to get that journey. It's not going to be easy, but still being willing to do that. So I really love that. I also did take this is kind of representative of a lot of Hermit cards, but I really do love, this is from Pagan Otherworlds, and I really do love that traditional hermit with the staff and with the lantern and the robes and the white beard. Like I really love that really old style hermit. I love his bare feet too. But yeah, so this is there's many hermit cards that I love because I do love this traditional image. So I just pulled that because I had it out, and then along with that, like this is very similar. I love, this is the Llewellyn. This is Merlin, and I just love it because, again, I just love the robes. I love the staff. I love he's got the torch. I also like it when they have hourglasses in it. But yeah, I do like the traditional older man image with the lantern and the staff. But I also really love Tarot of the Hidden Realms because look at the Hermit it's a woman, which I love. She's sort of got the raven skull and the stone, the seeing stone. You can get those stones with the holes in it so that you can see into fairy. She's got one of those, I think they're called hag stones or fairy stones. And she's got one around her neck, and she's heading, up into the caves. And she's going in, again, that idea of going inward, which really represents, I think, what the Hermit's doing. So I think this is a really powerful Hermit card as well. Wheel of Fortune, I'm not a huge fan of Wheel of Fortune cards. For the most part, they're okay. It's just sort of like, okay, it's a Wheel of Fortune. Like, all right, that's all right. But the couple stood out that I wanted to put. I love the Wild Unknowns. I love the sense of like birds having come and like hung all these things, and all these little draperies, and it's got a little bit of a dream catcher feel to it. We still have the wheel. I like the cycles with the night and the sun here, and I like that they're kind of flip-flopped like this, with the sun below. I just really love it. I love the owl. This is a beautiful wheel card. It's one of my favorites. I also love the wheel card from the Druid Craft because I really love this idea of her drawing her circle. Like she's an active participant. Yes, the Wheel of Fortune is often about things, a flick of the wheel and a fate that we don't have a lot of control over, but at the same time, like she is doing what she can to set herself in the middle of the wheel so that she's less thrown around by the changes. I like the liminal nature of being on the beach where we've got the caves here. It's just, I think this is a really powerful wheel card from the Druid Craft, so I really love this one. I'm back, and yes, it's the next day because my phone just kept going off for work yesterday. Anyways, the last one that I picked for the Wheel of Fortune was again from the Mythic Oracle, or the Mythic Tarot, and I just liked this one because it has the three fates, and that's, it's just classic. Mythological, obviously. I like the use of the three, and I just love the use of the three fates in the Wheel of Fortune. So I think that's pretty cool. It's like this video isn't meant to be made. But I'm gonna carry on. Motorcycle person. I love the people who are scrambling. One is all meditative up at the top, but he's about to get dumped, right? And here's the guy holding on for dear life at the bottom. And then same thing here. They're holding on because if you're up here, things are going to swing. So be prepared. Get yourself grounded. If you're down at the bottom, hold on. It's going to swing back up again, right? But most of the time we're spent on the sides, which is why I really do love this so much because there is that sort of connotation with the wheel that if you can learn to get in the center, you're going to still get moved around, but you're not going to get quite thrown around as much. So, so that's the wheel. Let's see, I've got my cards messed up here. For Justice, I love the look of most Justice cards. I love the traditional Lady Justice with her sword and her scale. I love a lot of Justice cards, but this has got to be one of my favorites, which is again from the Bohemian Gothic, because we have a person who is supposed to mete out justice in the front. And he has a book that's an actual book. Somebody pointed this out when I did the walkthrough of this, and I love that. But he actually has the book that they used to do witch trials and tried to decide whether or not somebody was a witch in the witch trials. So he's what the witch trials did is feed on people's fears and feed on people's hysteria and kind of stirred up this mass hysteria. So you're supposed to, with the justice cards, cut through emotion and see through to the truth, whereas the justice people in the witch trials were stirring up emotion and stirring up that fervor and hysteria and not seeing through to the truth. So, but then when you look behind, there's like a vampire a creepy I'm assuming he's a vampire, and he's got his fingers all crossed here. He's actually the one who's about to mete out justice to this man who is wrongfully accused and killed probably many witches, or just everyday people who are not witches, let's be clear. And he's actually the one in the background who's going to mete out justice. So I think that's an awesome justice card. So yeah, I had to put that one. The Hanged Man, I'm not a huge, I really have found, in thinking about this and going through a lot of different decks to find things, I love the Major Arcana. I mean, it's great, obviously. But I have to say, I'm much more of a Minor Arcana person. I really, probably because of my cartomancy background, and the strong numbers and elemental associations. I really love the Minor Arcana. So there's a lot of Major Arcanas. I'm like, okay, it's a Major Arcana. I get it. I love tapping into the archetypes and everything, but I'm much more of a Minor Arcana person. Anyways, so the Hanged Man, there's like, it's got a guy. I like any of the representations that are very clearly to do with Odin. I like those hanged men, the ones that are just kind of hanging there looking all meditative and serene. That's great, but this is actually from the new Mythic. Now, almost all of the cards between the original Mythic Tarot and the new Mythic Tarot, I love the original. However, I really do love this version in the new Mythic. I just really like this because there's a little bit more of a sense of sacrifice here. It's hot out. He looks like he's in the desert. It's hot. We have the eagle up here, kind of zeroing in on truth, going to gain some insight and truth through being upside down in a difficult situation. Being hot, I do think it's hilarious how his skirt is artfully staying upright even though he's hanging upside down. That stuff always makes me giggle because that's why I really do love the Druidcraft too. People complain about because of the male nudity that's quite graphic nudity. But if you're hanging upside down, even if you're wearing a skirt like this, stuff's going to be showing. Anyways, we won't go there. But yeah, I really just like this because it looks like a struggle. It looks like a difficulty. That looks like there's a sacrifice that's being made for the knowledge that's being gained. So I really like this one. Death card was so easy. There were two that were no-brainers for me. One of them I'll show first because this one was the reason I bought this deck. So I've said it a billion times. Llewellyn Tarot was the only tarot I had for like 9.5 years, and I saw this card online when I first started looking at other tarot decks online. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's transformation. It's sacrificial transformations, they sacrifice themselves in order for that new thing to come. So if death is about transformation and about the next step in the next cycle, there's a sacrifice being made for that next cycle. I just thought that was amazing, and that's one of the main reasons that I bought Shadowscapes, and it was my second tarot deck. I was like, oh yeah, I have to have that because look at that. So so definitely that, but hands down, like there's just no question when I think about the most amazing death card imagery, it has to be the Marielle. I mean, look at her. Like, she's that crone energy. She is lived and loved and lost and suffered and known joy and known sorrow and known wisdom, and she's just, I just think that's an amazing image. I love the flowers there because we have flowers in, you know, fresh bloom. They're in the bloom of their youth. She's at the end, and she's got all of that wisdom and all of that knowledge and all. I just think it's just written in her face. I think it's awesome. Awesome. So there you go for death. Temperance is another one of those where it's just like, okay, I like most temperance cards. Like, I don't have anything against them. I like the traditional imagery of, you know, the mixing. I really like the Shadowscapes. I'm not going to try to find it because I still got to go put all these things back. But I like the Shadowscapes where she's literally mixing a yin and yang sign between the water. And for me personally, temperance is about that balance, that when we can keep the masculine and feminine, the yin and the yang, when we keep those fire and water energies in balance, that creates something new. It creates this power that's beautiful. And so I love that in the Shadowscapes because it kind of looks like she's literally molding the energy. But I really love the Wild Unknown Temperance. I love, and I think this is the second edition. I actually like the first edition. I should have probably pulled that because I think that the first edition doesn't have the color around it, I like that one even more. I wasn't thinking it was late when I was pulling cards. But I love this. I just love the tears of the water and then the flame here. And it's just such a stark mixture of fire and water. I don't know. This is just, to me, really powerful. And again, I believe that the first edition has no color. It's just, the color is just here. And I really love that. So I really love this Temperance card. Devil card, most powerful for me, Devil card is from the Bohemian Gothic. I mean, to me, that is just such a powerful representation of not just kind of getting ensnared or being trapped or something or being chained, but actually embracing the things. Because generally, you know, obviously, I believe that in the Devil card is about abdication of power. It's where we are giving over our power to somebody or something else. And so, you know, we have this idea of addiction, obviously, here. I just think it's incredibly powerful because she's actually embracing her addiction, the thing that's destroying her, she's actually embracing. I just think it's such a powerful image, beautifully powerful. But I also, on the lighter side of things, I love the neoclassical devil because he just looks devil me care. You know that saying when you say, oh, he's devil me care. I love it. He just looks it looks like he's just finished a tap dance. He's like, ta-da, and he's like there with his staff. I'm sorry, but there's just something adorable about that devil card. So I had to say that one. That brings us to the Tower. I absolutely adore the Tower card in the Llewellyn, which of course was my first tarot. But I love the crashing waves. We still have the lightning, but we have this sense of endurance that, you know, the lightning may crash. Things might catch on fire, probably not because there's a lot of water here. But whatever might happen, the base is going to endure, and we're going to be able to rebuild and start over when the storm has passed. I just think and just visually, it's just gorgeous. But I also really love, this is from the Victorian Romantic Tarot, which I've trimmed. Don't all gasp in horror if you haven't seen that already. But it was the Russian version, and anyways, I trimmed it. So it's a shipwreck here, and the lightning and the storm. I guess I really like that idea of the storm. And the ship has wrecked, and they're tying themselves to the mast to try to survive. They're just, at this point, there's a certain point in a storm on a ship where they just knew, there's nothing else we can do but tie ourselves to the mast and hope that when it's done, that we're still alive, and then we can, wake up hopefully and swim for shore. So I just think that's a really powerful tower card. So there, and then after, of course, the storm, the sky clears, and we have hope again in the star. And this is from the Japardia Tarot. I just think it's stunning. It's our hopes and our dreams, and we have this floating bed, and it just seems like, she's in this dream world, and it's just gorgeous, just for sheer gorgeousness. And again, I like most star cards. I think they're beautiful. I like traditional ones. Um, most star cards I'm fond of, but this one just really stands out as just being gorgeous. Sometimes you like cards simply because they're gorgeous. So there was that. Moon cards, many moon cards that I like. I like traditional imagery with the towers on either side, and the wolf and the dog, and the lobster on. I love when they have the lobster on the plate. That just cracks me up. I love that. So I do really like traditional moon imagery. However, when I think of a moon card that just like stands out, when I was doing this, I thought, oh, what moon card? It's Tarot of the Hidden Realms, because look at her. She's like on the ground. She looks really almost feral, right? There's just like, she's just completely encapsulates the energy of the moon, and she's willing to just get down in there. She's down on the ground. Her fingers are like dug into the ground. She's almost like looking at this map or compass, and she's going to find her way, even though it can be difficult with the moon. Things are in half light. You can't always see where you're going and what you're doing, but she's just, I don't know. There's something very shamanic-y, is the word of the day for me. But there's just something just fae, and she's got the moon necklace. I don't know. This one really speaks to me. It speaks to my inner moon self. Like if I had an inner moon self, that's what it would look like. So there we go. Sun cards. If you follow my channel long enough, you know that I have a real problem with sun cards. I have a problem with babies in sun cards. I should have pulled the one from the Llewellyn Tarot, because that's what I learned tarot off of, which was Lou, a man, full-grown man on a horse, and the bright sun. For me, it's about confidence and mastery, and our happiness is there because what we've accomplished up to that point. Babies just don't do that. It doesn't say that for me. But I think that one's certainly one of my favorites. But I love the Sun card from the Wildwood Tarot, because, again, it's that sense that is a man and strong, arms back, much like the Fool. But look at the difference. So here we have this beautiful innocence, but the shoulders back and the chest wide open and moving forward. Well, we have that sort of chest open, but it's a strength and it's a mastery, and it's a, everything's kind of come together, and the power that radiates because of what he's learned throughout the rest of the prior major arcana. So there's just such a strength to this card that really represents how I see the Sun card. So I do there are very few Sun cards that really nail how I see the Sun card, and this is definitely one of them. So this is from the Wildwood Tarot. Let's see. For the Awakening, for the Judgment card, that's a hard one for me. It's not one I've always been super fond of. It's one I had to work through when I first started with tarot, because it had such Christian connotations to it. At the time, when I was really trying to work find a new path, and had kind of at the point I found tarot, I had kind of moved on to different roads. That those putting all of your sins at the judgment seat of Christ, that was something that was so far in the past for me that it was just sort of, it felt like stepping backwards. So having to come to terms with that imagery was one that was always difficult for me, just because it was so iconically Christian oriented. And so I do like how some other, I love like the Druid craft with the rebirth, the idea of rebirth, and there's a lot of them that I like. And I do work with the traditional imagery now. I've, kind of made my peace and things, and I love some of that Christian iconography. I mean, it's beautiful and it has much to say, and you can certainly use it. But one of the cards that, for me, the Judgment card is an assessment card. It is a card that says, okay, it's time to pause and figure out how we got where we are, good and the bad. So in the Judgment Seat of Christ, we are putting down both our we're putting down everything of our life, and it's getting burnt, all the bad's getting burnt away, and what's left there? Do we have any crowns left, or is it all coals? But we might be mixing the Judgment Seat of Christ with Santa Claus, but it's an assessment time, and we should be assessing both the good and the bad decisions that we may have made to get ourselves there, and also the ways in which we had no choices, right? Sometimes other people's choices got us there. So it's that period of assessment so we can move forward. So I really do like the Awakening card in the Victorian Fairy Tarot, because that's literally what this card is this fairy here is looking at himself in the water and having that period of assessment before he then moves on. So this really literally is an assessment card, how I see the Judgment card. So there's that. And then the World card is another one. I don't mind world card imagery, but a lot of the times it's just like, okay, it's the lady in the dancing with the laurel wreath around it, and I like all of the symbols that you can tap into there, but it's just never been like one of my favorite cards. Like, okay, the end, it's like the end card, and it's a great card to have come up and all that kind of stuff, and it always talks about cycles and the new beginnings and everything you can do. It's just not that I don't like the Judgment card, but I'm not usually wowed by Judgment card imagery. It's just not one when I think of, oh my goodness, I always have to check that card just in a deck. It's usually not the Judgment card. So I didn't really have any favorites that jumped out. But I do really like the World card in the Animal Totem Tarot, because we do have, I just like the complete circle. I like that it's just like completely different from any traditional Judgment card. But it's that complete, and there's a name for this, and I should have gotten the guidebook. But this is like a coral reef system, and it's like this whole complete world and system within itself. It's contained, it's complete. If everything is in balance, everything is working as it should, then everything is going great, because it's all working together in unity. And so I really love that. I love when you read the guidebook on this particular one. I like the guidebook in the Animal Totem Tarot, and I like this particular when you read this one. But I just like that because there is that sense of when things are all together and in balance and working, then you have this fully functioning working system, this complete this complete world within itself. So there we go. So these are not all general. Like, I have lots of favorites that I know, I'm going to, watch this back and say, why didn't you pick that card? Or what about this card? Or what about that? These are simply the cards that came to mind when I thought, okay, I've got to pull I've got to pull an Empress card. I've got to pull this. It's like, okay, what are the ones that came to mind? So, there you have it. Those are my more than 22 faves, because clearly some of them I picked more than one, but that's just the way things go on this channel, right? So I hope you've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed watching people's. I still have a lot more of people's to watch, but I do think it's interesting to see not just what their 22 favorites, but what about that particular art for that card spoke to them out of other ones they might have in their collection. So I've really enjoyed these, and it was fun to think about it myself. Now I have to go try to put all these back in the different decks. I should have left them all out, but did I? Oh no, that would be too easy. So thank you to Stephen for doing this tag. And again, I will have his link down in the description box below. And if you want to participate, you can do a video or do a photograph or do a blog post, and just hashtag 22 faves, because that when people search they can find it. So have a absolutely wonderful day.